information from business and economic. With me, Wicky Adrian. You're watching Market Headlines. To address the issue of tax potential loss due to digitalization and globalization, the G20 countries have begun to agree on a minimum tax for global companies to be implemented in 2023.
The G20 countries have begun to agree on a minimum tax for global companies to be implemented in 2023. This was stated by the Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani Indrawati in a press conference after closing the first meeting of the Minister of Finance and the Governor of the Central Bank of the G20 Presidency of Indonesia. The global minimum tax is one of the pillars of the two pillars of the international tax system solution to address the issue of tax potential loss due to digitalization and globalization, or based erosion and profit shifting, tax avoidance and tax evasion.
Dan telah disepakati bagaimana mekanisme perpajakan terutama menyangkut sektor digital yang bergerak secara internasional atau global. Menyangkut global minimum taxation untuk perusahaan-perusahaan yang bergerak antar negara di mana kemungkinan bisa terjadinya upaya menghindari pajak, tax avoidance.
Through this regulation, global companies or multinational companies are subject to a minimum tax of 15%. This allows giant multinational companies such as Apple, Microsoft, Amazon to Google to no longer avoid taxes by setting up companies in low-tax jurisdictions. Thus, countries in the world have the right to prevent erosion of the tax base and shifting profits from multinational companies. IDX Channel reports.
At the meeting of finance ministers and central bank governors, Bank of Indonesia reveals that the G20 countries agreed to establish a regulatory and supervisory framework for crypto assets.
The G20 countries agreed to establish the regulatory and supervisory framework for crypto assets. Moreover, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, crypto assets trading is getting bigger. This agreement was reached at a meeting of finance ministers and central bank leaders, or the Finance Ministers and Central Banks Governors Meeting, or FMCBG. The Governor of Bank of Indonesia, Februari, said the G20 countries highlighted the increasingly rapid development of crypto assets, so that if it is not monitored, it will pose a risk.
Negara G20 menyepakati perlunya kerangka pengaturan dan pengawasan terhadap kripto aset. Perkembangan kripto aset cukup pesat sehingga bila tidak dipantau secara baik dikhawatirkan dapat menimbulkan instabilitas terhadap pasar keuangan global maupun terhadap perekonomian.
Perry added, in addition to the increasingly widespread trading of crypto assets, there are currently emerging financial institutions or services outside of banking or non-bank financial institutions that can affect the financial sector. To that end, the G20 countries then agreed to strengthen the global financial sector by later establishing the regulatory and supervisory framework. In addition, Perry said that the G20 will also overcome the impact of the pandemic on the financial sector where this is needed, so that financial institutions can carry out intermediation functions in the context of economic recovery. IDX Channel report.
Investment Minister invites all local governments to work together to achieve the investment realization target in 2022, which has been set at a 1,100 trillion rupiah. The local government are asked to continuously communicate and coordinate with all potential investors.
Investment Minister Bahlil Lahadalia said that the central government is targeting investment realizations in Indonesia of 1,200 trillion rupiah by 2022. This target is considered very important to encourage Indonesia's economic growth after being hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, Bahlil invites all local governments to work together to achieve this target.
Saya mohon kerjasamanya untuk bagaimana kita rajin untuk mendatangi para investor. Kita datangi mereka, kita tanyain masalah mereka apa. Dan investasi yang kita urus jangan yang gede-gede aja. UMKM juga kita harus urus. Karena UMKM ini penting. UMKM ini 60% kontribusinya terhadap GDP.
The Ministry of Investment noted that there were 7 provinces and 10 regencies or cities that recorded the highest investment realizations throughout 2021, which are West Java, Jakarta, East Java, Banten, Riau, Central Java, and North Maluku, contributed to investment reaching 526.58 trillion rupiah, or 58.4% of the total investment realizations. IDX Channel report.
Moving on to global update, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris vowed there will be a swift, severe, and united response in Russia invades Ukraine. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace announced that Queen Elizabeth has tested positive for coronavirus. More stories on today's International Minute.
Vice President Kamala Harris on Saturday vowed there would be a swift, severe and united response if Russia invades Ukraine and assured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky the U.S. stands with Ukraine. In remarks at the Munich Security Conference in Germany, Harris laid out retaliatory measures in a manner befitting her past career as a prosecutor, promising significant and unprecedented economic costs. Britain's Queen Elizabeth II has tested positive for coronavirus, Buckingham Palace announced Sunday. The 95-year-old sovereign, who is celebrating her 70th year on the throne, is experiencing mild cold-like symptoms but expects to continue like duties at Windsor over the coming week, the palace said. UK media have reported that the Queen is fully vaccinated. Buckingham Palace previously confirmed both the monarch and her late husband, Prince Philip, had received their first doses of COVID-19 vaccine in January 2021. Tensions were high Saturday between police and protesters in Ottawa. Protesters clashed with police on the second day of enforcement action by Ottawa police, who have been moving to clear the capital of protesters who have been encamped there for 23 days in opposition to COVID-19 vaccine mandates and public health measures. The protesters initially wanted an end to cross-border COVID-19 vaccine mandates for truck drivers, but the blockade has gradually turned into a demonstration against the government and against Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Russia's President Vladimir Putin oversaw military maneuvers by strategic nuclear missile forces at the worst crisis since the Cold War grips Europe. The Kremlin said on Saturday that Russia successfully test-launched hypersonic and cruise missiles at sea and land-based targets during the exercises. Putin sat observing the war games on screens along with the president of neighboring Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko. IDX Channel reports.
Salim Ivomas clarifies over alleged hoarding of cooking oil right after the break.
Kini aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, discharge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi. Dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
Welcome back. Tofu and tempe producers will go on a production strike for 3 days from February 21st to February 23rd, 2022. The production strike as a response to the high price of soybeans in the market.
Saat ini dengan kenaikan harga kedelai yang begitu cukup signifikan dari akhir tahun lalu itu kira-kira sekitar 8.500 sampai 9.000 begitu. Baik. Sekarang ini sudah menjadi 11.000. Jadi kenaikannya cukup tinggi. Yang kami keluhkan itu adalah kenapa ini harganya tiap hari mesti naik atau 2 hari sekali. Jadi kami usul kepada pemerintah, pertama itu adalah harga kedelai itu dibikin stabil. Kalau bisa 3 bulan, tapi minimal 1 bulan.
Therefore, producers demand the government to stabilize soybean prices in the market. If these demands are met, the production of tofu and tempeh will resume. I further ensure that this strike was not followed by demonstrations. The producers only strike production and there is no action on the streets. IDX Channel reports.
Regarding the alleged hoarding of 1.1 million kilograms cooking oil in the warehouse, Salim Ifomas explained that the cooking oil found is on order and ready to be distributed to the customers for the next days.
Salim Ifomas Pratama gave an explanation regarding the discovery of 1.1 billion kilograms of packaged cooking oil in a factory warehouse in Deli Serdang by the North Sumatra Police. The Indofood subsidiary explained that the cooking oil found in the Deli Serdang factory warehouse equivalent to 80,000 cartons of 2 till 3 days of delivery. Company management declares all available stock is on order and ready to be distributed to the customers for the next few days. The company also said that the productions of their factory is prioritized to meet the cooking oil needs of the group of the company's instant noodle factories spread throughout Indonesia, including in Deli Serdang with a demand of 2,500 per ton per month. In addition to meeting its own needs, the company said that the company's palm oil is processed into branded cooking oil in various sizes, especially 1 liter and 2 liter packages of 550,000 cartons per month. Previously, the North Sumatra Police investigated the suspicions of hoarding 1.1 million kilograms of cooking oil found in a warehouse in Deli Serdang. The pile of cooking oil was found when there was a shortage of subsidized cooking oil at price of 14,000 rupiah in various traditional markets and modern retails. IDX Channel reports.
The Confederation of Indonesian Trade Unions asked the Supreme Audit Agency and the House of Representatives to intervene to investigate the alleged misuse of BPJS Ketenagakerjaan Old Age Security Funds that could potentially harm workers' rights.
The chaotic ministerial regulations of Manpower number 2 of 2022 regarding the disbursements of the Old Age Security Fund resulted in allegations of budget abuse. The president of the Confederations of Indonesian Trade Unions, Said Iqbal, suspects that certain parties will benefit from the Manpower regulation. Iqbal asked the Financial Audit Agency and the People's Representative Council to immediately examine BPJS Ketenagakerjaan. Commission 6 and Commission 9 were urged to act in dealing with the issue of old age security funds invested in state bonds.
Dibuat aturan Permenaker merugikan buruh tapi tidak menguntungkan pengusaha. Jadi siapa nih yang bermain nih? Yang diuntungkan dengan Permenaker ini kok ngotot bener? Padahal PP nomor 60 tahun 2015 sebagai dasar rujukan bahwa JHT boleh diambil setelah terjadi PHK paling lambat 1 bulan setelahnya belum dicabut. Jadi siapa yang main-main nih? Pengusaha nggak untung, buruh dirugikan, big question mark. Harus diperiksa oleh BPK.
According to Iqbal, the alleged misuse of the old age insurance funds must be investigated thoroughly so as not to harm the workers. From Jakarta, Rizka Ayu for IDX Channel.
State-owned airport operator Angkasa Pura received applications from 3 international airline companies to resume flights to Bali in March 2022.
State-owned airport operator Angkasa Pura I received applications from 3 international airline companies to resume flights to I Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport in Bali in March 2022. The 3 international airline companies are KLM Royal Dutch, Scoot Tiger Air, and Jetstar Airways. Angkasa Pura I President Director Faik Fahmi noted in a written statement. Fahmi noted that KLM Royal Dutch will fly 4 times a week on the Singapore-Denpasar flight route using the 408-seater capacity Boeing B777S. Scoot Tiger Air will recommence operating 3 flights per week on the Singapore-Denpasar flight route using the Airbus A320s with a capacity of 108 seats. Meanwhile, Jetstar Airways will operate 3 flights a week on Singapore-Denpasar, Sydney-Denpasar, and Melbourne-Denpasar flight routes. Meantime, in the other side, Bali Governor Wayan Koster noted that the national flag carrier Garuda Indonesia will resume flights from Sydney to Denpasar to support the reopening of international routes to Bali. IDX Channel reports.
Stay with us because Market Headlines will be right back with information about Telkomsel's revenue growth target of up to 6% in 2022. Stay tuned.
Kewaspadaan terhadap penyebaran Omikron harus terus diperketat.
Ya, hal ini sebagai antisipasi dari masuknya virus varian lainnya ke Indonesia.
Awali hari Anda dengan informasi dunia ekonomi yang diulas dari berbagai sudut pandang. Simak pula analisa pasar modal dan inspirasi bisnis dari berbagai perusahaan rintisan. Power Breakfast, Senin sampai Jumat, jam 8.30, hanya di IDX Channel.
idenya itu bermula dengan saya dan 2 orang kawan kuliah. Jadi kami temenan kuliah, tapi kami bertiga ini backgroundnya sama-sama dari fishery industry.
Perbincangan hangat tentang isu dan kebijakan ekonomi terkini yang diulas secara mendalam bersama narasumber terpercaya. Market Review, Senin sampai Jumat, jam 10 waktu Indonesia bagian Barat, hanya di IDX Channel.
Welcome back. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier, JCI was open at level 6,918.04, and approaching the closing time of the session, the index was on the level of 6,900.38. Then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,902.96. In short, JCI went up 0.15%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got technology went up 1.61%, finance went up 0.64%. Meanwhile, transportation and logistics sector went down 1.07%, and industry went down 0.85%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Arto went up 3.07% to the level of 15,925 rupiah per share. ANTM went up 4.31% to level 2,180 rupiah per share. IATA went up 14.94% to the level of 200 rupiah per share. EMTK went up 7.05% to the level of 2,050 rupiah per share. Meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got Baut went down 6.86% to the level of 190 rupiah per share. Telkom went down 0.45% to level 4,380 rupiah per share. BBNI went down 0.94% to the level of 7,900 rupiah per share. And Adaro went down 0.45% to the level of 2,230 rupiah per share. And this is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Opened at the level of 14,330, rupiah was also showing a strengthening trend towards US dollar. It was close at the level of 14,272. In summary, rupiah went up 0.52%. Telkom Indonesia targets this year's revenue to grow by around 5 to 6%. The company will also focus on maintaining profitability with the EBITDA margin target in the range of 50%.
Telkom Indonesia targets this year's revenue to grow by around 5 to 6%. Maintaining profitability is also an important indicator in maintaining the company's benchmark in the global arena. Vice President Investor Relations of Telkom Indonesia, Andi Setiawan, say the growth target was in line with the many challenges the company would face, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, which has recently returned, and the implementation of restrictions or PPKM in several areas which will affect operations in the field. Another challenge also comes from the inflation side due to the increase in the cost of energy triggered by geopolitical conflicts, so Telkom needs to anticipate it by developing the right products because the conflict will have an impact. Moreover, the company will also focus on maintaining profitability, especially the EBITDA margin in the range of 50%, considering that this is the most important indicator. IDX Channel reports.
To support operational activities, Kapuas Prima Coal has prepared a capital expenditure budget of $12.5 million throughout 2022. The company's management stated that the capital expenditure will be focused on building infrastructure and exploration, as well as purchasing several heavy equipment to support performance. According to the management, zinc and lead commodity prices are currently stable. It is hoped that this trend can continue until the end of the year so that it can achieve the set target. This year, the company targets a production capacity of up to 642,000 tons of ore. Meanwhile, in terms of sales, the company targets to be able to sell around 31,000 tons of lead concentrate and 61,000 tons of zinc concentrate. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Apakah masih ada yang mungkin masih tertatih-tatih, masih mengalami kerugian dari sisi kinerja? Tegilah lebih kepada